What's up, Game Boys and Girls? Big T here, back with another video. And yes, I know it's been a long time since I've made a video, and I sincerely apologize, but that is going to be the end of that hiatus stuff. We're coming back to a regular schedule at this point. I got some pretty cool things I would like to do in the works. I'm finally gonna make this, last hurrah, if you will, last push to make this channel really viable. So I got some cool things, and hopefully they work, and we'll go forward with that. But we're here to talk about the masterpiece that is Tears of the Kingdom, that is Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, and it is a phenomenal game. It's hard to explain in how many different ways, but we're also going to talk about some of the salty tears of the kingdom from other fan bases, fanboys from other fan bases. It's pretty sad, and I don't know. It happens all the time, I guess, when these things happen. When especially when Nintendo gets some accolades, the same arguments come up. We'll talk about that in a minute. But let me just talk about the game first. It is phenomenal. I'm about 25 or so hours in. It's hard to know with the way Nintendo has their setup as far as your hours and playtime and all that stuff goes. So I'm between 25 and 30 hours. I've only tackled one temple at this point in time. The temple itself wasn't great. I enjoyed the boss battle. It felt like, old school Zelda boss battle stuff. But the temple itself was pretty weak. That is the first, well, I don't know if it's not really the first temple, but it's the kind of first temple that the game kind of points you towards, which is the Wind Temple. I'm not going to spoil it or anything like that, but I think the boss battle was pretty cool. I did enjoy the boss battle a lot. It's just the temple itself didn't have a whole lot going on. It was a little bit confusing at first, but I'm sure they'll get better. But yeah, there's really cool abilities. Like, I just want to talk about the fact that this game is, it's a building a step upon Breath of the Wild and what it did, but there's a whole lot of changes, huge changes. This is not DLC. It's really ridiculous that people would say that. I mean, I kind of get why people would say it if they don't play the game, just kind of outside looking in and just wanting to hate on it, but it clearly isn't DLC. I was at least 11 hours in before I even saw something that looked familiar to me in the game, so that should tell you a lot. A lot of games are over by 11 hours, 10 to 15 hours. So the fact that this game that is built on the foundation of Breath of the Wild didn't even look familiar to me until that point. Obviously, you start off in the sky, you spend some time up there. It's like your tutorial area. It's where you learn all your different abilities, like the Ultra Hand, the Fuse, the Recall, and the Ascend, where you can jump through the ceiling and stuff. Sometimes you forget about that Ascend and you think you're stuck, but you go, oh yeah, I got Ascend, I can get out of here. But the fact that they just I don't want to say they reinvented that wheel, but the physics system is completely changed. It's similar, but it's almost completely changed in this game as far as your abilities and stuff. And so, I mean, that's crazy, because the physics system in Breath of the Wild was already crazy enough, and I'm sure it took a long time. It took years to build that thing and make it work. For them to introduce new abilities that are very different from the abilities in the Breath of the Wild is pretty amazing. And these abilities are very expansive, especially like the Ultra Hand, where you can craft things. You can build machines and build vehicles and all kinds of stuff like that. I mean, that is a system in itself that would be enough for most games, but that's just one part of Breath of the Wild. So you have the Sky World, which is not as intricate as I thought it would be. I will say it is vast, but it's not as, at least not right now, it's not as intricate as I thought it would be. Outside of the Wind Temple, I thought that climb to get to the Wind Temple was amazing. I will always remember that climb and how awesome it was, and how scary and weird and crazy it was. But that was really good. But the other systems, like ascending through, like, I don't know how this game just doesn't break and just doesn't work. using that ascend, because you can jump through anything that has a top, basically, and that's close enough to you. It's close enough from where you're standing and above you. There's certain distances it's not going to be able to reach, but it's reasonable, and that ability is just amazing because there's no stopping you. As long as there's a platform over your head that's in enough range, you can jump through it. I was climbing up the side of a mountain once, and the mountain kind of curved over my head, and I was able to just jump through and climb up the rest of that mountain. I don't know. They spent a year basically polishing the game, I guess, trying to find things like that, and it shows true. The gameplay is amazing, and that's what a lot of these salty guys don't understand. And when I talk about the salty tiers of the kingdom, it's from their fan bases. I've listened to Xbox guys and PlayStation guys. I listen to their podcasts, different fan podcasts, and mostly those guys talk about performance. Yeah, they'll talk about games they want to see come out, but they don't really talk about the games. They don't get in depth, like what I just did here with Tears of the Kingdom, talking about the physics systems and how cool that stuff is. And I didn't even get into the combat, and just every button is used in some way, and just some things are multiple buttons that you have to use. There's just one gripe, it's that, but I don't really know what else they could do with all the systems that you're using, all the abilities and things that you're able to do. I don't know how better they could have made the control, as far as like trying to remember what to press and stuff like that. It's going to take you a minute. I think eventually I will stop making mistakes in that. I'm already getting better, especially from when I first started, after I get all the abilities. But yeah, the salty tears of the kingdom, these guys don't talk about gameplay, and so they don't really understand what it means to get a 10 out of 10 based on gameplay. Because the graphics of Tears of the Kingdom, I know I was going to do that eventually. Tears of the Kingdom isn't up to par with standard graphics today or whatever, but they don't give it credit for what it is. Like, we're talking about a tablet handheld that was built basically in 2015. The parts were 2015 parts, and by the time it came out, it was already 2 years outdated. And what is the 15 watt? Is that even right? Power, whatever the charger, whatever plugging it in gives you, I think it's like 15 watts. So something that's running off that, they don't give it credit for what it is. Like, you can literally, get to the highest point, and there is a highest point in the game. I saw Game Explain do a little experiment, and they got so far in the sky, and it's like, you can't go beyond this point. And so you can jump from that spot all the way through down to the depths, because there's a whole entire underworld as well, with zero load. And for this little tablet control, where is it? A little tablet console. Let's see if I can grab my my older one. This little thing here, to be able to have a game that is that intricate, and there's probably bugs in the game, but what I'm saying is, there's no glitches, like outright, oh my god, glitches that you see in a lot of modern games today, games releasing broken and whatnot. For me to be able to play in a game with a already vast open world, you have the surface level, which is already huge, Breath of the Wild's surface level, and it's not just the same world again, like I said, it took me a minute to realize where I was, because the landscape is very different, and there's caves now, and so there's cave systems all over the place, and there's different puzzle elements in the world itself. There's different architecture and whatnot in the world. The towns are different. All that stuff is very different, right? And there's a lot of different things to do, and the stables and all that stuff is very different. So you have that, but then you have a complete underworld, which is just as big, as large as the overworld, and then you have the sky world. Now, obviously, it's not completely as big, because there's different islands all over the sky, but it's still pretty huge up there. and you have all of that, and you have this physics system, and you have this building crafting system, and you have the cooking system, and you just have all these layers of systems on top of systems, and the game just works. And it mostly runs at 30 frames per second. That's just, incredible for this little tablet rinky-dinky device from 2015 to be able to do that. And that's why these guys will never understand, why does it get tens? It's no game is perfect. It's not about perfect. It's about mind-blowing. And how does this game blow your mind, right? How does this game is so mind-blowing, I'm giving it my best score. It's not about, everything in it is perfect. It runs at, a locked frame rate at all times, because no games do that, on console especially. That's just one thing, just the frame rate. It's just, that's a technical thing. And yes, you will judge games based on technical, but if you're playing a game and it's not bothering you, technically, then it's fine, right? So you want to get to the essence of what that game is. You want to get to the gameplay, the core mechanics of the game and how they function, and just the vastness of the game, and just like how it works. It all works with all these layers on top of it. Again, on this little rinky-dink tablet controller or tablet console, and that's just amazing. That's what blows people's minds away. And so these guys who only focus on visuals and frame rates as a barometer of greatness, they don't understand when you start talking about gameplay, and they start getting really salty. They get salty about the fact that Breath of the Wild, or there it goes again, Tears of the Kingdom, outsold like Horizon Forbidden West within 2 days. Like it outsold it by millions within 2 days, and they get salty about that. I don't understand that. I want to congratulate things that do well in gaming, because I'm just a gamer, and I don't even understand how a lot of these guys completely just dismiss and don't even, like, I don't want to say acknowledge Nintendo, because they do acknowledge them because they have to, because they're such a behemoth right now, but they don't even partake in any way in Nintendo games, and they call themselves gamers. That to me, I just don't understand. There isn't anything from Nintendo that you care for. I mean, these guys are making 30, 40, 50 million selling games on one console. They don't have the luxury of being on, PCs and multiple consoles. And these are not multi-plats. These are games that are selling 30, 40, 50 million copies on one platform. And for you to be calling yourself a gamer and not partaking in that, like, I don't understand in some way how you can miss out on that large of a chunk of gaming, that large of a chunk of excitement in gaming, and call yourself a gamer. Is just it's very strange to me. So I don't know what else to say. This game is phenomenal. I can understand why they're giving it 10s. I mean, Breath of the Wild got multiple 10s as well. This game improves in Breath of the Wild almost in every way. Again, I'm still pretty early in the game, but I can already see where it's going. The story-wise, even the visuals, they do look. It does look better than Breath of the Wild look. It looks sharper, look cleaner. I don't know if it. Yeah, I would kind of compare it to like Ocarina of Time versus Majora's Mask as far as the visual bump. There's probably a little more in Majora's Mask because it did have the expansion pack. I believe it required the expansion pack, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. Yeah, I mean, you can tell that the game has also, got a visual bump as well. And it runs better than Breath of the Wild ran. So I don't want to focus too much on the salty Tears of the Kingdom, because that stuff's going to happen. Especially for my Xbox cousins. They haven't had a big AAA hit in quite some time. Hi-Fi Rush was fantastic, but it's not like a huge game or anything. So they're a little thirsty over there, and instead of congratulating, they want to, throw stones at Tears of the Kingdom, which is sad. And obviously, a lot of Sony guys don't like the fact that This is getting obviously got way more sales already in just a couple weeks than Horizon. And it's like, oh, look how good Horizon looks. Well, yeah, that's great, but obviously there's some things that didn't connect with with a lot of people the way it connects with like the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom connects, and people will try to say, oh, it's just you guys have nostalgia for these games. There's millions of people playing Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom who never played Zelda before that. So you can make the excuses, and they make the excuses. But even though Zelda wasn't a huge selling franchise either, they sold well especially for the install bases, but they never cracked like 10 million sales. That wasn't until Breath of the Wild that happened. And actually, some of the games, it was kind of going down with Skyward Sword. The sales actually dropped. So it resonated. This game connected with a lot of people who never cared for Zelda before, and obviously also with Zelda fans, but it resonated with people who never cared for Zelda. And so they try to chalk it up as nostalgia. That's just a joke. It's just a really lame excuse. This game is fantastic. It deserves its accolades, at least from what I'm seeing, and I'm looking forward to playing it more. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about the video. Did you agree with my sentiments here? Are you partaking in the salty tears, or are you just enjoying the Tears of the Kingdom? Let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I'm back. I'm going to be more regular, and I probably said that before, but this is for real. I actually have an extra day of freedom from work, so I'm going to be focusing on doing more videos and expanding the reach of this channel and what I'm going to be doing here. So thank you guys again for watching. Keep watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit a like, drop a comment, do all that stuff to help the channel grow. I'm going to be doing more things in the future for that. Thanks again for watching and listening, and see you fools next time. Peace out. Now it's back to gotta go back to Hyrule and play some more Tears of the Kingdom. Peace.